officially September, which means that it's officially Halloween. Halloween is not a day, it's not even a weekend or a week or a month. Halloween is the entire season. It starts September 1st and goes until forever. If you haven't noticed yet, I really love Halloween. These are not Halloween decorations. They are apartment decorations, and they will not be moved until I move out of this apartment. So, that being said, I decided that I would do a Halloween-inspired book rec list. And seeing as how I only have 10% of my books with me, you're gonna have to bear with me, and I'm just gonna stick pictures of book covers right here. So, you know, get over it. But also, a lot of these books I haven't read in years, so I'm gonna try and give the best descriptions of these books that I can from memory. I have my top 5 Halloween-ish books that are, you know, in no particular order. They're just the top 5. I'm being lenient on top 5. At least 2 of these are series, but I mean, they're really good series. You should read all of them. But it's my video. I make up the rules. I can do what I want. So, first series is Croak by Gina D'Amico. Basically, the premise of this is that this girl, she's like 16, I think. She starts having problems at school, and her parents decide to send her to her uncle's farm in upstate New York. And she like puts up a fight, as, you know, 16-year-old girls would when being sent to a farm. And she gets there and she realizes that there is no farm. Her uncle is a Grim Reaper, and he is going to teach her the family business. And, you know, she has some trouble because they go to reap a murder victim, and basically when they reap the soul, they pop in, time is frozen, and they grab the soul, they pop out, time is unfrozen. And yeah, she has to reap the soul of a murder victim, and she wants to get revenge, but that's against their laws to interfere. So she gets in trouble with that. There's a lot of other trouble that happens. It's not really a scary read, it's just a really good, like, Halloween kind of read, you know, Grim Reapers, death, all that good shit. Second series that I have is the Half Bad trilogy, and, you know, I really, really love this book, or these books. I don't think I've ever cried at a book like I did at the last book, so it will rip your heart out. Basically, the premise is you have good witches and you have bad witches, and the good witches don't communicate, they don't interact with the bad witches at all. And the good witches, their goal in life, or at least their council's goal in life, is to pretty much stomp out all of the bad witches. Your main character, I think his name was Nate, maybe, that's probably wrong, but his mother was a good witch, his dad was a bad witch, and for his whole, like, childhood, he's constantly being tested to see, like, which side is going to prevail, and is he going to be a good witch or is he going to be a bad witch. And he, you know, throughout the series kind of realizes you can't just have black and white, like, there's room for some gray area. Not only was his father a bad witch, his father was the baddest of the bad witches, so the council takes special interest in him and, you know, tests him to see if, you know, they can allow him to live or not really. And yeah, it's just a really, really amazing trilogy, and I know that there are some people that they didn't really like it, it just wasn't their cup of tea, but for me it was an amazing, amazing book, and second book and third book. Like, you know, there are some series where, like, the further you go, the worse the books get. Not the case. Not the case at all. Next one is One Was Lost by Natalie D. Richards. This is about a class trip that is out in the woods and people start dying. which is exactly what you want to think about, you know, September, right after back to school, going on a class trip and everyone dies. But they start finding like body parts, and there's someone out in these woods that's messing with the people that are still alive. And the plot twist was really, it was kind of expected, but it was also like still really, really good. Definitely a spookier read or a scarier read, more so than Half Bad was or Croak was. It was one of those books that like I had never heard anything about it. I just saw the cover and it looked really cool and I bought it and I loved it. So the next book is Slasher Girls and Monster Boys, and I forget who compiled it, but it's an anthology of short stories that are all horror. Some of them were just okay. There was maybe one or two that I didn't like, but for the most part I really, really loved the stories in that book. Like, the cover is beautiful, the writing was all really, really solid. There was one that the only story that I can like really, really remember from it, because it's been like a year or two since I read it, was one that was sort of Alice in Wonderland inspired. It was really good. I highly, highly recommend that book if you want something scarier and maybe some like shorter reads instead of, you know, an entire novel. And then finally, this is one of my all-time favorite books, and I don't even really know why. It's How to Survive a Horror Movie by Seth Grahame-Smith, and I have this as an ebook, and I probably read it at least once a year. Not even around Halloween. Like, I'll just get bored one day and be like going through my Kindle and my note app on my phone and be like, what can I read? I'm like, oh, How to Survive a Horror Movie. I'll read that. It has an introduction, or a letter of apology from Wes Craven, I think. It's basically going through like all of these horror movie tropes, and, you know, suppose you found yourself in a horror movie. One, how do you figure out what genre you're in? Because that's gonna decide how you live or how you try to survive. What subgenre of horror movie are you in? What is the movie's budget? And then finally, what are you running from? What are you trying to survive exactly? And how to survive it. And it's hilarious. Like, there's a whole little snippet about boobs and how, you know, if you're a young female, you need to keep them covered because they emit this signal or whatever that alerts killers in horror movies. Scientific fact. Boobs just attract killers. And it's really great. Like, I've always loved Seth Grahame-Smith. He wrote another one of the books that was on this list. It didn't make the final cut, but I've always really loved his books, and this book was really, really funny and really well written, and I didn't realize until last night that it would actually be helpful for someone trying to write horror, because it goes through all of the tropes. And if you don't want to have predictable horror, you can look at all these tropes because they're all laid out right in front of you, and then write around the tropes and avoid the tropes. Or maybe you want the tropes, so you include the tropes. But all around, it's just a really great read, and it's really short too. I doubt that it's super expensive as an ebook either, so yeah, those are my top 5 Halloween reads. Sorry if I wasn't super energetic, but I can't tell if my roommates are home right now, and I'm trying to be kind of quiet, so yeah. I'll try to remember to put links to all of the Goodreads and possibly like an Amazon link for all of these books down below. Bye.